welcome to Just Off Markham. I'm your host, Jason Pattison, and it is game week. And I do apologize last week. I didn't get the show out. Was dealing with some school stuff and trying to get my feet wet and ready for the beginning of the semester. And I'm really excited about that. And so thank you for bearing with me a little bit. And I've got a great show for you all today. We're going to discuss the Cincinnati game. It is game week, and I cannot wait for Saturday to roll around. You've got tailgating, you got all the people, the atmosphere, Cincinnati coming in. It's a top 25 matchup that's going to be on ESPN at 2:30 in the afternoon. You've got SEC Nation, which that was announced at SEC Media Days for week 1 here in Fayetteville. So you're going to have Paul Feinbaum, Laura Rutledge, Tim Tebow, Roman Harper. They're going to bring the set. Marty and McGee are going to be here, and it's going to be an incredible atmosphere. Right when you get off the truck there that morning, you get in there, and it's going to be a great time. Also, check out all the tailgates. They're going to be an incredible an assortment of food everywhere, and it's a definite must that you stop by a couple of different places. I know that there's one in particular that I personally am going to be stopping at, and I think it would be an incredible atmosphere there. It's called Razor FX. Razor FX, you should go check them out, and they are also working in coordination. They're coordinating with a barbecue place down there in Central Arkansas, Coy's. And so if y'all are from Central Arkansas, you may know kind of what I'm talking about there. But they're going to be up there, and it's going to be a great time, and should all stop by. Anyway, so let's go ahead and move on here. Let's take a look at this depth chart that was released today by Coach Pittman. And it's very, very interesting to look at the wide receiver spot first off and foremost. I know this is one of those spots that a lot of people have talked about over the course of the last few weeks. Not quite sure exactly what Kendall Briles is going to do as far as you keep hearing all the coach speak a little bit from all of the press conferences. You see all the content that's been put on social media with folks that are running routes. And one of the things that I've noticed in watching those videos is that the wide receivers are getting exceptional separation from those cornerbacks. And this cornerback group is good. They're experienced, and they bring a little bit of edge to them. And that might be one of the reasons why you see a couple of guys, transferring out of the program. And Coach Pittman, talked about, if you're going to come here, we're going to play hard, we're going to work hard, and that goes for in the weight room, outside of the facility, and also on the practice field. And you start to think about how this is kind of shaping up as far as the wide receiver position, that group goes. I think this is a lot deeper than a lot of folks think. Your three starters that you have at wide receiver are Matt Landers, 6'5", 197 senior transfer, originally signed to go to Georgia, and last year played at Toledo, where he caught 20 passes for 514 yards and 5 touchdowns. And he played 3 years at Georgia, but he didn't. He caught 12 passes, so he wasn't getting the playing time. And it may have been a deep group, but that's fine. Keytron Jackson is his backup. He's the number 2 guy behind him. Warren Thompson also is a starter. 6'3", 198 redshirt senior. His kid came over from Florida State. And Coach Pittman, Coach Briles' whole team has really raved about the corner that Warren Thompson's turned since fall camp has started. And then you have the heralded transfer from Oklahoma, Jaden Hazelwood, 6'3", 213, redshirt junior. So you kind of look at this a little bit, and you've got redshirt senior, redshirt junior, redshirt senior, or a senior, and that is a lot of experience. They may not have had starting experience, but they're stepping into these roles not as freshmen or sophomores, but as players that have been around the block and they know how to handle their business when it comes to game day. You got, of course, KJ. KJ wasn't going anywhere. Love Malik Hornsby. He's going to get his moment. Right now, this is KJ's moment. Running back, you've got Rocket Sanders. He's going to be your starter, 6'2", 227 back out of Tulsa. And then his backup, second on the depth chart, is going to be A.J. Green. They have not moved up Dominic Johnson into that second or third spot as of right now. They're wanting to see how he progresses. Coach Pittman talked about in his press conference today. And they want to see, get him to cut a little bit, move back and forth side to side to see how that knee's going to hold up after having surgery on it over the offseason. Tight end, you got Trey Knox at starting position. Can't talk enough about Trey Knox, man. The guy is solid. And after he's made this transition from wide receiver, and he's put on a lot of good weight over the offseason. He's up to 245 now. Last year he was playing around 230, 235. Now you got him up to 245. And he's able to put on those good pounds to really kind of throw his weight around and push some people around. So let's go into the offensive line. And the reason why I intentionally left them to the end is this is probably the most experienced offensive line you have coming back on the campus of the University of Arkansas in years. Total together, the 5 offensive linemen that are starting have a combined 10 years of starting experience at the offensive line. You got at left tackle, you got Luke Jones, a 6'6", 327 redshirt senior. He's a kid that played at Notre Dame and transferred to Arkansas in 2019, a kid from Pulaski Academy. You got Brady Latham, 6'5", 307 redshirt junior. And then at center, you've got Ricky Stromberg, a 6'4", 313 senior. These are guys that are just large men. They're very wide, very stocky, but I wouldn't say stocky, but they're very wide. But they're able to be nimble and get around from A to B very quickly. You've got Bo Limmer. He's a right guard, 6'5", 302 redshirt junior. And his preseason fourth team All-SEC, according to Phil Steele. And Ricky Stromberg, he was preseason first team All-SEC center coming into this year. And is also on the Remington Award list. I'm sorry, I'm kind of going back here for just a second. And he's going to be extremely integral at that center's position, being able to help call line assignments. And his backup, Patrick Kutas, 6'5", 305 freshman. He came from Christian Brothers High School in Memphis, where he played both ways, but he was the number 11 interior defensive lineman in the nation, according to 24/7 Sports, and he's a 4-star recruit. So you may not have the experience, but you definitely have the skill there. And then you've got, of course, Bo Limmer, we just talked about just a second ago. And then at right tackle, they do have Dalton Wagner. He was a 6'9", 331 redshirt senior. He was voted a team captain. And he's missed some time on this offseason due to back issues. We'll have to see how that goes. It looks like he's going to be good to go, though. I haven't said anything other than he is ready to go. And so he's played also in more games than any other current Razorback. So that's really, really key for him to be out there with that experience. But if you think about it, though, and looking at this roster for just a second, his backup is Tykees Crawford, a 6'5" through 25 junior. He's the kid that originally committed to Arkansas and then actually went to play at Charlotte and then transferred back. So, actually, didn't transfer back. He transferred into Arkansas. So he was originally committed, left, played for another school, and came here. So you have a lot of really good uh, backups. Like, for instance, Luke Jones is second on the depth charts. Andrew Chambly, freshman, 6'6", 303 guy, 303-pound guy from Maumelle. He's also teammates with Nico Davier. And then Jalen St. John, a kid that had entered the portal and came back, is actually second on the depth chart, 6'5", 327. He's a redshirt sophomore. And he was a four-star recruit. And Coach Pittman was really taken by the fact that he had entered the portal the way he did and he came back. And I feel that it's really necessary for Coach Pittman. And I know that he's kind of moved on from the stance of if you're going to enter the portal, don't come back type thing. And I'm glad that he really softened that stance because there are some kids that they may have not received, all the information. They may have a thought that, this isn't for me when they don't know the whole plan. And I feel that, it's incredibly, it's incredibly important for Coach Pittman to be able to, go back to these kids and say, hey, maybe you have entered the portal, but come back. This is what we are seeing so what we want to see from you. We think you can do this. And so, there's been a couple of kids that have those moves. So let's move to the defensive side of the ball for just a few minutes and take a look at the defensive line. First off, you've got Joshua Stewart. He's a 6'2", 251 junior, starting defensive end. He kind of reminds me of a Dwight Freeney type frame. I have to see what type of speed he possesses, but I mean, you definitely has to look over his shoulder because he's got Landon Jackson, 6'7", 274 sophomore, transfer from LSU. And we'll definitely see Landon Jackson also in there on those rotations. Starting defensive line, other defensive end on the other side is Zach Gregory. He's a 6'4", 261 senior. And he's got 2.5 sacks, which are the most of our Arkansas returner, and that I think is going to change quite drastically with this front four and the rotation that Deke Adams is going to be running through there. I think that you're going to see a lot more pressure on the quarterback this time around because you've got defensive backs that are going to be playing more lockdown corner football, and also in with the two safeties that are kind of rovering in the back because they're going to be playing the nickel defense starting out. So we'll take a look at that in just a second. But Eric Gregory, one of your defensive tackle starters, he's a 6'4", 303 redshirt junior. He played in all 13 games last year. He recorded a high 4 tackles for loss